Hello class, so today we'll be graphing linear functions, and you're probably thinking, well, what is a linear function? And from our last video we learned that functions, when looking at a set of ordered pairs or a graph, is when our x's didn't repeat. And when we were given a graph, it passed the vertical line test, and that any vertical line, it only went through one point. If it went through 2 points, it wasn't considered a function. And so you're probably thinking, well, a linear function, I want you to circle the first 4 letters in linear. And you'll see that it says line. A linear function is when we graph it, it forms a straight line and it passes our vertical line test, and so it's a function. It's a straight line that is a function when graphed. And so before we were given a set of ordered pairs and then we graphed those to see if it was a function. Now, however, we're going to be given an equation, come up with a set of ordered pairs, then graph it, and determine if it's a linear function. So say we're given the equation y equals 3x. And so we want to come up with 5 ordered pairs, and we're going to do that by creating a table. And so we have our x and our y. And for our x's, let's do some negatives, 0, and a couple positives. So we'll have -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. We're going to do 5 points. And so to figure out what our y value is, when x is -2, we're just going to plug it into our equation. So 3 times -2, we get -6. 3 times -1, -3. 3 times 0 is 0. And then 3 times 1, we get 3. And then for 2, we get 6. So now we've created our table by plugging in the x values into our equation that we were given. And so now let's graph these 5 points. So x is -2 and y is -6. So we'll start here, -2, and then down to -6. When our x is -1, our y is -3. So we'll go -1, -3. And then we have 0, 0, 1, 3. So we'll go right 1, up 3. And then 2, 6. So we'll go right 2 and up 6. And you'll see if we connect our points, it forms a straight line. And make sure you put the arrows on the end, because that shows that this line goes on forever. Because we can plug any x value in here and get a y value. And so it's going to keep going on forever. And so when you graph the plotted points, you only need to do 3. In this first example, I did 5 just so you can get the idea. But whenever you're doing it on our assignments, you only need to pick 3. And if it was me, I would pick a negative, the 0, and a positive, just so you're getting a 1 here, here, and here. And so it's easier to draw that line. Because if they're all really close to each other, it's hard to figure out where that line's going. And so that's all you have to do. Create a table, do -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2, plug it into our equation, get our y values, and then plot those points onto our graph. And so if we look here, is it a linear function? It's a straight line. And if we do a vertical line all the way across, it's only going to cross through 1 point. It will never cross through 2 points on this line. So yes, y equals 3x is a function. In the second example, we're going to look at the equation y equals 5x minus 2. And we want to determine whether or not this equation is a linear function. And so we're going to create our table like we did in the last example. And for our x values, we're going to do x equals -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And so to figure out what our y value is, we'll plug in these values into our equation. So x equals -2. 5 times -2 is -10. Minus 2, we get -12. Plug in -1. 5 times -1, we get -5. Minus 2, we get -7. Plug in 0. 5 times 0 is 0. Minus 2, we get -2. 1 times 5 is 5. Minus 2, we get 3. And then 5 times 2, we get 10. Minus 2, we get 8. And so now we filled out our table. We have 5 ordered pairs, but we only need to graph 3 of them to create our line. And so let's do easy ones. Let's do -1 and -7. So we'll go to -1 and then down 7. And then we'll do 0, -2. So we stay here to -2. And then we'll do 1, 3. So 1, 3. And since we have 3 points, we can connect them to create our line. And make sure you draw the arrows on both ends, because we know that this line goes on forever. And so if we do our vertical line test, we see that each vertical line only crosses the line 1 time. You'll never have a case in which that vertical line will cross here twice with 1 line. And so to answer the question, is y equals 5x minus 2 a linear equation? Yes. Here's your practice problem for tonight. You're given the equation y equals -3x plus 4. And what I want you to do is put into a table, plot 3 points, creating your line, and then answer the question, is it a function? So is y equals -3x plus 4 a linear function? And so I'll leave that up so you can write it down.